in spite of all the danger.
In the gargantuan library of the Lennon-McCartney songbook, the names of the quiet Beatle and the cute Beatle rarely sat side by side in a compositional credit. Yet, buried in the archives of 1958, lies a singular anomaly. In Spite of All the Danger. It is a track that serves as a DNA strand for the British invasion, representing the only time in history a song was officially credited to the duo of McCartney and Harrison. Before the stadium screams and the avant-garde studio experimentation of Abbey Road, there was a group of teenagers called the Quarrymen. In July 1958, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison, along with pianist John Duff Lowe and drummer Colin Hanton, scraped together their pocket change to record at Percy Phillips's home studio in Liverpool. The session cost them exactly 17 shillings and 6 pence. Because they couldn't afford a second copy, the group left with a single, fragile 78 RPM acetate disc. They agreed to keep the record for a week each, passing it around like a sacred relic of their shared ambition. While the song is a quintessential 1950s doo-wop ballad, heavily indebted to the vocal style of Elvis Presley, its credit remains its most fascinating feature. Paul McCartney has long been acknowledged as the primary writer, but in those formative days, the rules of the music industry were a foreign language to the Liverpool youths. Reflecting on the decision to include George in the credits, McCartney later explained, "It says on the label that it was written by McCartney and Harrison. I think I wrote it, but George did the solo. We were very equitable in those days." By giving Harrison the nod for his guitar contribution, McCartney inadvertently created a historical unicorn. As the band evolved into the Beatles and the Lennon-McCartney powerhouse took over, Harrison would eventually find his own voice with masterpieces like Something and Here Comes the Sun. But he would never again share a formal written-by credit with Paul on a Beatles-era track. The story of the physical disc is as legendary as the music. After the group moved on, the acetate ended up in the possession of pianist Duff Lowe, who kept it in a drawer for over 20 years. In 1981, McCartney intervened to purchase the record back, reportedly for a sum significantly higher than the original 17 shillings. He had the recording digitally scrubbed and restored, eventually gifted copies to his bandmates, and finally released it to the public on the Anthology One collection in 1995. Today, it stands not just as a rarity, but as a testament to a moment when a group of friends were simply trying to mimic their heroes, unaware they were about to become them.